These are the mistakes that I see in most Father of the Bride speeches. And I see them because I not only ghostwrite tons of these Father of the Bride speeches, but I do consultation calls. And these are the mistakes I see in most of those first drafts. The first mistake I see all the time is having the language be over formal. I talk to fathers on the phone and they're just funny and interesting and they're telling me about their daughter and then I say, okay, great, send me your speech, and I read it and it looks like it was written by a robot. It's just written in a way that no human being speaks. It's over formal. And I get the instinct, right? This is a big occasion, it's an important occasion, you have the instinct to be professional. But this isn't a business speech. This is an emotional speech. This is a speech that will sound best if it's conversational. Think about doing it in the same voice you would as if you were just at a dinner party talking to friends. How would you describe your daughter? How would you tell them about the time this happened or that happened? You would be relaxed, you would be funny, you would be conversational. And really what this event is, the whole wedding, is just a big dinner party. I mean, it's a very big, very expensive dinner party, but that's kind of the spirit of what it is. So make sure that your tone reflects that. The next trap I see is that they say it, but they don't show it. And the rule of storytelling is always show it. Don't just say it. So if you're talking about your daughter, and don't just give us a list of qualities that she has. Illustrate them. If your daughter was stubborn as a little girl, don't just tell us that. Give us a specific example of her being stubborn. Did she wear the same princess dress every day for a month? Well, if she did, tell us, and give us as many details as you can remember. What month was it that she insisted on wearing this princess dress every single day? I mean, if it was July, that was going to be one stinky princess dress. If it was February, I mean, were you worried family services was going to come because she's walking through the snow wearing nothing but a princess dress and a wand? What was the weirdest place she ended up wearing that princess dress because you couldn't get her out of it? Was it Aunt Gertrude's funeral? Those details are going to add organic comedy. And you know what organic comedy isn't? Dad jokes. That organic comedy is where your best laughs are going to come from. Truth is funny. Truth is funnier than anything you can make up and any canned jokes that you're thinking of stealing off the internet. I've got a video all about that. There's a link to it in the description. Now, some dads go the other direction, and the next mistake is just putting way too much in. I'll open up a speech and it's 17 pages long and, it's going to take 45 minutes to deliver, and it starts somewhere at the time he went through puberty and goes all the way up into about 3 minutes before the wedding started. So you don't need that much. You may have great stories, but you don't have to put them all in. I get it. You've got thousands and thousands of memories about this little girl, but you just can't fit them all in. It's diminishing returns. Here's what I recommend doing. Sit down and do a huge brain dump of every story you have floating around in your head. Because I know from the second she got engaged, you have been thinking about this speech and going, oh, I can't forget to put that one in, and I can't forget to put that thing in, and remember when she said that thing? So just sit down and put them all in one document, on one note on your phone, on one legal pad, however you want to do it. And then look at that list and put stuff kind of loosely into age categories. So very little girl, teenager, adult. So once you've got that, go through and from each section of her life, pick one or two representative stories. See if you can use those stories to connect the child to the adult. And you'll be surprised how often you can. So if she loves animals, has always loved animals, and now she works with animals, you're going to look through and you'll see a lot of stories about animals. How she always used to bring home strays, and there was this one, and there was that one, and there was the other one, and then she adopted this hairless cat. I mean, you'll just see things start to develop. If you can connect the little girl to the adult, to the young woman who's getting married that day, that's where the magic happens. It's special for you as a father because now you're seeing things full circle, and it's also amazing for the audience because so many people who are watching you deliver this speech, They know the adult, but they don't know the little girl. And it's so much fun to hear the stories. She does that now. Oh my gosh, she's been doing that since she was 7 years old. That's where you really are creating this three-dimensional picture of who your little girl is. I mean, I grew up to be a comedian and a comedy writer, and you can bet that when my dad gave his Father of the Bride speech, he mentioned every time I mouthed off or I was a smartass as a kid, because there's great stories about it. It's who I was then, it's who I am now. And it's fun for everyone to hear. By the way, if you're finding all this helpful, hit subscribe. I have tips and tricks for all kinds of speeches, toasts, business presentations, even that company holiday party speech that you dread every single year. The next trap I see so many dads get into is trying too hard to be funny. Now, funny is good. Funny's great. I'm comedy professional. Love comedy. But you have to remember who you are. The whole premise is to make this speech feel authentic to you. So know yourself, know where you're comfortable. I just helped a dad with a speech. He was a forensic accountant, and he felt, because he'd been told or read it, that he had to be really funny in this speech. And I read his draft, and all the comedy read like it was written by a forensic accountant. It just felt so forced. If you're someone who isn't particularly known for being funny, a little bit goes a really long way. Because remember, humor's seasoning. And some people are, you know, it's chocolate or caramel, and you put a little bit of salt onto chocolate or caramel, and it just makes it amazing. But if you put too much on it, it's just weird and not pleasurable at all. But that said, if you're someone who is funny and you know that people are going to be expecting big laughs when you go up there, well, yeah, swing for the fences. Put lots of that seasoning on there. Your potato chips or popcorn, you know, lots and lots of salt, you can get away with it. So just remember who you are and don't try too hard to be funny, because the funny's not the problem, it's the trying. Save the trying for the dance floor. Okay, finally, the biggest mistake I see dads make in their speech is that they totally forget to include their wife. I've read so many speeches where the wife isn't even mentioned, to the point where I have to ask, are you two together anymore? I mean, it's fine if they're not, but I don't want to say, oh, you have to include your wife if there's been some terrible divorce. I mean, even in that case, you kind of have to acknowledge her as the mother of your daughter, but certainly in a different way. So don't forget to acknowledge your wife. At the very least, find places where you can say we instead of I when you're telling some of these stories, because odds are it was we who was involved in the story. It wasn't just you. Look, including your wife, it's going to make the speech better, it's going to make you look generous, and it's going to save you a very long, very tense drive home. If you need some ideas on how to organically weave your wife into the story, well, watch this next video.